I'm Neelam Fudke, adult and pediatric allergist immunologist at Mass General and Torchiana Fellow in Health Policy and Administration with the MGPO. Today I'm here to talk about ambulatory recovery.
Hi everyone, my name is Inga Lennis. I'm the Senior Vice President for Practice Improvement and Patient Experience here at MGH and in the MGPO. And it's a pleasure to be with you today, Neelam.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Lennis. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about the ambulatory recovery process at MGH. Phase 1 of Governor Baker's plan to reopen Massachusetts was released this week. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this means for ambulatory care at MGH?
Absolutely. So we were very excited to see the governor's phase plan released. And in preparation for that, there's been several people across the MGH and others across all of partners that have been working on planning for ambulatory recovery. That group has included several clinical vice presidents, EDs, ADs, and medical directors of our ambulatory units. And we've been thinking about how to reopen our ambulatory enterprise. The governor released guidelines for ambulatory recovery and ambulatory reopening. And those guidelines include increasing ambulatory visits for conditions or signs or symptoms that really shouldn't be deferred. Things where the condition would worsen or become serious without being seen in the ambulatory setting. And so those are the places that we're going to be focused as we increase our ambulatory volume over the next month.
What are the types of ambulatory visits that will be scheduled during the first phase of recovery?
Sure. So in the first phase, like I said, we will be focused primarily on those types of visits where we wouldn't want to defer care because it could lead to a worse outcome. In addition, the governor has outlined preventive services for children and immunizations as priority areas. We would also want to schedule procedures that would lead to a worsening outcome without being addressed. The governor also did stress that anything that could be seen through a virtual care visit or through telehealth should continue to be seen that way. We want to make sure that we are bringing in conditions and patients into ambulatory that are not routine wellness visits, but rather visits for conditions that could become more serious without intervention or without being evaluated.
What other considerations are there in ambulatory recovery?
So in addition to the governor's plan for ambulatory recovery, partners and Mass General have been thinking about this. And in addition to the specific areas that we're focused on based on the governor's commission and recommendations, we also have another consideration, and that is the use of protective equipment. So the availability of PPE is a huge consideration in ambulatory based on how vast the ambulatory enterprise is. So at full steam ahead, our ambulatory units can see 12,000 patients a day. And our ambulatory practices are located in, we have 226 ambulatory practices in 55 locations. So if we were to start all of our ambulatory practices up full steam ahead, the use of protective equipment would be very large. So we have to coordinate the ramp up of our ambulatory care and coordinate that with the availability of our protective equipment across all of partners. And so based on that, we've set a ceiling of a growth of no more than 25% for the first phase of our ambulatory reopening or ambulatory recovery, because we want to make sure that we are mindful of the availability of protective equipment and that we don't run out. So that's based on work that many people have been doing across the system to look at our supply chain and how we're going to be able to use PPE in our ambulatory units. The other consideration is making sure that we all are well trained and aware of the infection control guidelines, and that is work that will be ongoing that everyone will see more of over the next weeks as we train all of our clinicians and providers who are in the ambulatory arena. So, and in addition to all of that, we'll be preparing for phase 2, which will start roughly about a month after phase 1, and we'll be looking to how we can grow further in our further phases of growth.
Thank you so much for all of that information and for joining us today.
Absolutely. Stay safe and be well.